Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I do this every single week. I talk about the Star Wars comics, novels, and more. So to support the channel, if you like this video, make sure you go ahead and hit subscribe. So that being said, we have 3 Marvel comics to talk about this week. The first one is Star Wars Age of the Republic, Darth Maul. So this is that series of comics that is focusing on one issue at a time on a specific villain or hero. So we have a story about Darth Maul, which is kind of a continuation, if you will, of the previous Darth Maul miniseries that took place before the Phantom Menace. So we have Darth Maul, and this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler for those of you that haven't read the miniseries. You're going to want to do that first. If not, it doesn't really matter, because what this is about is Darth Maul pretty much trying to quench his thirst for power and his thirst for Jedi blood. So picks up right on Coruscant. He's in the underworld, and he is working under a false guise of a gangster for this criminal organization, and he's working with this thief. It turns out that this thief the whole time seems like he's a little bit force sensitive, so that's why Darth Maul went in there, worked with this guy to the point where he ends up just killing him to hopefully try to satisfy his thirst for power, because he can't really go ahead and attack the Jedi yet, because we learn from his talk with Palpatine that it is not the right moment, as seen in the Phantom Menace. So they then go to the planet of Malachor. So if you've seen Star Wars Rebels, we find Darth Maul on Malachor there, and he has a vision of him being a Jedi, and it's pretty wonderful seeing Darth Maul with a double-bladed blue lightsaber. That's really cool, and through that he learns a lesson of he's got to be careful, right? He's got to bide his time. He's got to be patient, which is something that Darth Maul really isn't. And it kind of ends up where he acknowledges that, you know, obviously Sidious or Palpatine is his master, and he abides by his master's rules. So getting into the things that I liked about this issue, first off, seeing even flashbacks of Darth Maul dealing with the Padawan from the previous miniseries. It's really cool. They linked up so well, especially because they used the same artist from that miniseries, Luke Ross. I really enjoy his artwork. It has these nice little moments of action where he focuses these little insets on Darth Maul's teeth and his eyes, and it really just shows like that raw emotion, that raw power. So really great kind of continuity going from that miniseries, which is excellent. I really like to see that Darth Maul was having a hard time. You know, he's out there, he's in the shadows, he's trying to quench this thirst for power, especially, is interesting. I liked how we see that Darth Maul, even back then, before the Phantom Menace, he's already trying to set up his own private underground army of his own little cartel, because we eventually learn, you know, through Solo and through Clone Wars, that he amasses this power of these pirates and all these different organizations. So it's cool seeing him plant those seeds so early on in his career. So yeah, all in all, I was very impressed by this Darth Maul issue. If you are a fan of Darth Maul, I would say this is probably a must-read for you guys out there. Okay, so next up for the comics, we have Doctor Aphra, issue number 27. This is part 2 of Worst Among Criminals. So we have Doctor Aphra, we have 000. They are stuck on one of the most patriotic, one of the most hardcore Imperial sympathizing planets in the universe, called Milvayne. And, well, we know this is the worst place for them to be, especially since they have this link of a proximity bomb where they can't really be separated more than, 20 meters or something like that? Or is it 20 feet? Something like that. So yeah, this isn't a bad situation for these guys. We left off where 000, out of his own frustration, his own thirst for killing people, he has killed, they thought, the only person that could actually get this bomb out of them. But then we do find out in this issue that he did have a mentor, this person that was killed. So now they are on the hunt to try to find this mentor to hopefully, for real this time, try to remove this bomb successfully. So they are trying to evade the police. They are going through all these different avenues to try to remain secret to get through. They go through a train. They go to the underground of Milvayne. They find this young girl who helps them with the help of her really strange looking creature to get through. And well, by the end of this, they do run into a possessed Hampazla who we thought was dead, but now is controlled by this hook spore that has force sensitive powers that uses his body as a host because he's all about justice. Yes, this is the epitome of Doctor Aphra, guys. If you read Doctor Aphra, you got to be ready for this kind of crazy, weird stuff going on, and that certainly is happening in this issue. Let's break it down even further than that. So I like how the writing is so self-aware of itself when you're reading these characters. For instance, we have something about the character of Nock and Winslow, and about how they are thinking to themselves how they are the best bounty hunters, but they really are, or monster hunters, whatever. And speaking of that, I really like how we have those characters back in this story because they were in an annual issue, and I like those characters a lot. It's this Trandoshan who has a relationship with this human, and it's just so funny. It's a really good time there, so it's good seeing continuity from that. I like seeing Milvayne as this imperial state and about how they treat their citizens very, very severely with their punishment. I mean, they are literally knocking people off of these very high skyscrapers to their death for stuff that doesn't even seem like it's all that severe as, infractions against the Empire. So it's nice getting that world building, seeing other worlds in the Imperial rule, really embracing the thoughts of the Emperor and whatnot there. And it's cool because, as you know, in other Star Wars expanded universe or in the canon, Coruscant, the upper levels are always for the rich, and they have the lower levels, which is all for the impoverished and the criminals, and it's the same sort of way there. Milvayne has an underworld, so I like seeing that a lot. It was really cool. This whole issue was just hysterical with 000. I mean, he is a killer through and through. That's just how his programming is. He likes to see blood. He likes to cause blood. And the fact that he is trying so dang hard to not kill people because Dr. Aphra prefers him not, because every time he kills something, it gets them in more trouble. So that specific scene when he was arguing with the train conductor to get them, and she wanted to separate him and pretty much insulted him by saying, "You're going to go into a closet." He went ballistic and almost tried to kill her there. Then that's how he basically got the police called on them, and they fell off into the platform into the underground. So that was really interesting stuff there for sure. And of course, I'm so happy because Tam Posla is back. I love Tam Posla. He's just one of those side characters that I always gravitated toward, probably because he looks like Boba Fett a little bit with the way his helmet is. So we actually get to see him on his own world. He is just so obtuse because he's got this big ass laser cannon, and he's being possessed by the hook spores. So he's literally using the Force now. It's pretty crazy. Not only that, is the hook spores can actually latch onto non-organic technology, aka droids, aka BT is back in the game. I was wondering how much further they're going to go in the story without having him back in there somehow. So yes, he is being possessed by this evil Force ghost. So it's very interesting stuff there. And like I said, this is the epitome of a Doctor Aphra story. It's just all over the place, but it's very entertaining. And last but certainly not least, we have Han Solo Imperial Cadet issue number 2. This is that Han Solo miniseries that takes place in that 3-year gap approximately where Han Solo is in the Imperial Academy and he's learning how to supposedly fly a TIE fighter. So the last issue we picked up with Han Solo just trying to steal a TIE fighter and get out, and he crashes spectacularly, and we find out that he's in the brig now. And normally the Imperial, they have no toleration. They do not tolerate the people that don't follow the rules. And well, he was going to get terminated for that, but then we find out that they tried not to kill him because he could actually fly really, really good, because when he was trying to escape, he basically evaded all these ties, which they haven't seen ever in the Imperial Academy on Karita. So we pick up with him basically getting another chance. It shows up it shows us what he has been doing for the training, which a lot of it doesn't even have to do with flying. And well, by the end of this issue, he goes on a real style training mission. I mean, this is the weird thing about the Empire, right? Is they're not going to really use simulation programs, although I think they do. But they'll throw the recruits into a real mission, I guess, against the rebels. It wasn't said that they were rebels, but it's assumed they are because they have this big ion cannon. And Han Solo, he has a heart of gold. Rather than let one of his wingmen die, he jumps out of the ship like a hero and saves the guy, but they can't complete the mission. So now they all end up in the brig, and it doesn't look like anybody's particularly happy with him now. So let's just jump right into the things that I like is getting more flashbacks of Han Solo and Corelli, because he's asked by this taskmaster guy of the Imperials, how did you learn to fly so good? And Han's just kind of reminiscing different missions with Kira. You see different missions with the various characters of the White Worms. So really cool stuff that we didn't see before. So I really appreciated that. Anytime we get to see more of Kira and Han together, I'm all for that. Something else which was cool was just seeing all the various stages of training as the Imperial Cadets. They're in the classroom. They are learning how to dive underwater. They are jumping out of airships and using the first versions of Star Wars parachutes that I think we've ever seen, at least in canon. So that was interesting. And all the flight sequences with Han flying the TIE fighters, very interesting, very kinetic, very fast-moving imagery there, which really captures the feel of the mighty TIE Fighter. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the next issue in the series, and they've been doing a good job of really just showing us what it's like to be in the boots of an Imperial recruit in the age of the strength of the Empire as right now. And shifting over to TV for this week, we had Star Wars Resistance Season 1, Episode 10, titled Station Theta Black. It was the mid-season finale, so we have General Leia for the first time speaking. She gives a mission to Poe Dameron and Cass to investigate this abandoned mining First Order facility. And, well, they are there, and next thing you know, Captain Phasma finds out and goes herself there to see what's up. So we have a confrontation between Poe Dameron and Captain Phasma, which must be the first one in the timeline of Star Wars for these two characters meeting. So very cool stuff there. My overall thoughts on this episode can be found in my review on the channel right now. My overall thoughts for the first half of Star Wars Resistance is I like it a lot so far. I like it more than I thought, and that's because, well, I probably had lower expectations, but with the past couple episodes, they've really been building up to something. They have this forward momentum going. I'm not sure exactly how far we are from The Force Awakens. I'm hoping maybe that by the end of this season, we're going to actually catch up to the events of The Force Awakens. So yeah, I would recommend this show for sure. So moving over to live action Star Wars, we have the Mandalorian cast being officially revealed. It was the worst kept secret in the entire universe. We have Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian himself. He is also joined by Gina Carano from Deadpool, Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad, Emily Swallow from Supernatural, Carl Weathers from Predator, Omid Abtahi from American Gods, I hope I pronounced that okay, Werner Herzog from Grizzly Man, and Nick Nolte from Affliction. So it's worth noting that every one of these cast members is above the age of, I think, 35. So, you know, we have a more mature cast. Does that mean we're going to get a more adult-oriented show? Most likely. It's good that we finally have these actors with their names out there. Maybe they can actually talk a little bit now that they're officially announced. But regardless of the fact, I'm very happy they're in the middle of production right now. It's going to be launching on Disney Plus by the end of 2019. So hopefully this time next year we could all say we've seen the first season of The Mandalorian. Okay, so over to my question of the week. This comes from Twitter. It's from user James M, the Crazy Gamer Historian 1999 at Robin McCormick. He has lots of great questions every week, so be like this guy and send in your questions through Twitter using hashtag Star Wars Weekly, or you can comment them in the comment section of the video down below. So he asked me, old EU or new EU, which expanded universe canon do you like the most? So let's talk about my experience with the old EU first. We have me reading lots of Star Wars The Old Republic novels, such as the Darth Bane trilogy, such as the Heir to the Empire trilogy, and little stories in between like Darth Plagueis and Kenobi, and, you know, various other random novels here and there. I didn't read a lot of the big series like the New Jedi Order or anything like that, like post Return of the Jedi. I didn't really dive into a whole lot, so I wouldn't consider myself like a big EU fan, because simply I just didn't read enough of it. As far as canon, I've read pretty much everything out there that's come out, even some short stories, so yeah, I've been on top of that. So I don't know if I'm really able to say with too much authority on this question. I will say I've really been enjoying the new canon so far. I really enjoy the storytelling that they're able to weave certain characters into different stories. But as far as the comics and the novels, they've been doing a great job, I think. Where the old EU kind of goes a little bit crazy is with the storylines about how it seems like back then it was more of quantity or over quality, right? So there was a lot of books coming out. Lots of them seem like they might have been forgettable. I can't tell you a lot of things about certain novels I read because they just weren't really that memorable, because I think there was just so much stuff coming out at once. I do enjoy about the old EU is the various series. So I like how there's lots of trilogies, lots of series. That's really cool, and that's something that unfortunately the new canon hasn't really done. The only series we've had so far is really the Aftermath trilogy. We haven't had anything more than an actual trilogy. I would like to see like an actual, like maybe like a new Jedi Luke Skywalker Academy or something like that, where we see more of like Kylo Ren and everything. But I'm getting a little bit far away from that. Just looking at both the old EU and the new EU, I will say that I like the new EU better, or the new canon better, because I feel like they Lucasfilm Story Group is able to kind of hone in, and Del Rey and Disney Lucasfilm Press are able to, maybe release 3 books a year. And those 3 books, they are pretty solid. They haven't had any stinkers out there that have been really, really terrible, that I, really didn't like all that much. There's been a couple hits for sure, that I could say that are, there's things out there like Darth Plagueis. There's things out there like the Heir to the Empire trilogy, which are just legendary in the EU. But I mean, when you compare that to the hundreds of other EU novels, a lot of them I've seen I haven't heard of before. So that just kind of proves my point. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future of the new canon. I've really been enjoying it. So yeah, that is this segment. Again, you can get your questions through Twitter using hashtag Star Wars Weekly. Anything's up for grabs. You could also comment your question in the comment section below. It's really important that you guys get your questions to me, because it's always fun answering them on the show. So do that, please. So that's gonna do it for another episode of Star Wars Weekly, but next week we can look forward to Darth Vader issue number 25, which is unfortunately the very last issue of Charles Soule's legendary Darth Vader run. Can't wait to see how that ends. We also have Solo adaptation issue number 3, as well as Star Wars Adventures issue number 16. So what did you guys think about this comics? Let me know in the comment section below. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I have plenty of other Star Wars content that I release on a weekly basis, so you're going to want to make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because I do this show every single week. There's so much Star Wars coming out, it could be hard to keep track. So this video series helps you guys, at least I think it's going to help you guys stay up to speed on all of it. So make sure you support the channel, not only for the Star Wars content, because I have other content such as games and movies as well. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.